All right, what's going on, everyone? Welcome to another week of the capsule. I do have a special guest with me here in the building. However, before we get on to talking to him, those of you watching or anyone that clicked the thumbnail might already know who he is. But we'll just start off with a few news announcements because I didn't want to leave you without the weekly news before we started. So in terms of the winners for this weekend, we had a few events. We had Dance Your Style qualifier in Glasgow, which was on Saturday. And the winner was Divine. She was actually on Netflix's Dance 100 apparently as well. Great dancer. You can check out the video of one of her final rounds on our Instagram. She will join Kane now as the two of the qualified dancers for the Red Bull Dance Your Style UK finals. If you don't know about that, the winner of that will go on to represent the UK at the World Finals. Kane went last time. He's now qualified again to compete in London. There'll be, I think, 8 wildcards, so invited dancers who will join now Kane and Divine to compete in London, and then the one winner of that will go to wherever the world final is. I don't believe it's been announced yet. I could be wrong though. Also, there was a battle in Portugal, which UPG won, so shout out to them. It seems like every week they're having another win. They won the 3v3 All-Stars battle, and Quake won the hip-hop, so shout out to him. That's a great weekend. We also had Groovinometry. They didn't have specific winners, but they had top 16s in breaking and then popping in hip-hop, who then those top 16s battled down to the top 4, and the top 4 joined the invited dancers. There were some great dancers there. Deacons was here. There's a few others, Nicky Pop, and they had an 8 versus 8 exhibition battle in one was for popping and hip hop and one was for breaking. So shout out to Groovinometry. Sounds like from everything I hear it was another successful year, so that's dope. We love to see it. Few other last bits. In the efforts to fundraise for Maryland's renovation, those of you who know or don't know about Maryland, it's a dance studio in East London near Stratford that was kind of like a cultural place for a lot of the dance scene in the UK. A lot of classes have gone on, a lot of events. It's been going on for a while, and they're trying to reopen it and renovate it. So to fundraise for this, there's a collab class between Dylan Mayoral and Jordan J Funk on the 30th of March. So all the funds from that go to the Maryland studio. There's also a rebuild showcase at Barking Broadway Theatre on the 8th of April. So yeah, go and check those out because all the profits will go towards a good cause and to help us have more spaces. So yeah, and with that, let's get on to our guest. I would say a fairly old friend of mine, Nikhil Yudat. If you don't know him, I would definitely recommend checking out his Instagram, his YouTube, every other platform that you have. But yeah, a great dancer and now entrepreneur, event organizer, podcaster, would you say? Somewhat interviewer at times.
Sometimes.
How else would you describe yourself? You do a lot of different stuff under your platform now, right?
Yeah, for sure. I think if I would say I'm just someone who like to create stuff, yeah. I'm really the type of guy who I would say dance gave me the curiosity to experiment, other stuff, and still for the benefit of dance, but also for the benefit of me as a person and as an artist as well.
Yeah. So then let's step back. So for the people that don't know you, you started off as a battle dancer mostly, right?
Mostly, yeah.
And you were with the crew Yudat, who are like a world famous, super dope level crew. I'm going to try not to bring up Joker this podcast because I talk about him on every fucking podcast because I love this guy. Every time someone's like talking about examples of like oh yeah, what's a piece that you saw or something, I'm like, yeah, have you seen Joker Yudat? It's like, okay, I'm going to try to not bring him up too much.
It's too late now.
Yeah, I know. That's the last time I'm going to mention him today. It's not. Because I saw his judge demo, so we're going to have to talk about that as well. Yeah. But no, like your crew are dope. I spent a little bit of time with Jimmy at a couple of events. Great guy. Like I've always, had a good relationship with you, and like it just seems like all of you guys are dope. But yeah, a lot of people know you from the battle scene, especially from the French battle scene, but like worldwide as well. So then you kind of started off there, and then you also did a lot of like choreography stuff as well, right?
Yeah.
And then later on you kind of built this platform, which we can talk about as well. So yeah, I guess let's start with like what the platform is for those that don't know anything about you. Like what is the platform that you have? What does it entail? What's all the things that fit underneath it? What could we go to you for?
Yeah. You know what? I think to have like to give a better picture of the platform, it's probably best to start with a quick backstory.
Okay, yeah.
You know, because I mean, I moved to Paris when I was 13 years old.
Oh, from where?
Because I'm from 80. Because I was born in 80. Then I moved there in 2000.
Okay.
Then never thought that I would be a dancer.
Really?
Yeah, not at all. I used to play soccer and things.
Okay.
We say soccer, football. And 2 years later, around 2002, this is when I started, kind of get interested about dance.
Yeah.
And then, and then I started, practicing and making a name for myself in the battle scene first.
Yeah.
Also with Yudat crew. But then
so you were in Yudat straight away from the beginning?
No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I started in my city. I had a teacher and all of that.
Yeah.
And then 2 years later I met Yudat at the same battle that they were, but it was their first battle.
Oh,
and
cool.
It was my first battle as well.
Oh, no
so
way.
basically we meet there. And then Jimmy and Sam, they are Asian just like myself. And then we just keep in touch. And then every Sunday, I started to go to their studio to practice.
Okay.
And then this is how we kind of create a bond. And then I joined the crew.
Nice.
Like a year later, something like that.
Oh, cool.
But I moved to to make a long story short, I moved to London in 2012. So
this is when we first met, right?
Yeah. 2012. I would say you guys are probably the first dancers that I started to hang out with. In 2012, and then after that, this is actually when everything started to kind of shift in my mind, because before that I had the comfort of my family. I was living with my parents and all of that. Starting making money with dance, but it was, I didn't have that much, responsibility. Then when I moved here, everything was like, very quick. I have to, find out how I'm gonna, make a living quickly. So I started working full time. I was a salesman at Ferrari in Regent Street, but not the car shop, the clothing shop.
Oh, okay.
In Regent Street, but they closed now.
Yeah,
and as you can imagine, I didn't want to stay there for long. So I was already thinking of, okay, how can I, get back to doing dance, and that's it,
Yeah.
So this is how I started to discover, the entrepreneurial side of me.
Yeah.
And I started testing, different things like, career masters back in the days.
I was gonna bring this up. Yeah.
And things like this, until I found out about online marketing. And what I really liked about online marketing at the time, it was the idea of being able to the leverage that you can have, meaning you don't necessarily have to be there to generate a revenue. And for us dancers, it has always been one of the problem for us to scale, because whenever you need to make money, you need to be there to teach, you know, to perform and all of that mainly. So I like the idea of it. Then I started to, you know, dig a little bit deeper into that. So I tested, you know, a lot of things like affiliate marketing, e-commerce, and, you know, so many things that kind of helped me to start understanding, you know, how I could potentially start making an income by staying at home, for example, or by being anywhere with a laptop, you know? And then once I started to do that on a regular basis, then I realized, okay, I like the skills that I'm learning, but I know that I need to find a way to bridge it with dance, you know, because that's my passion. And if I manage to do that, then I will feel even more, you know, fulfillment in my work.
And it's also your expertise as well. It's like the thing you can probably bring the most to it.
Exactly. So this is how, you know, 2018, I started really thinking about, you know, Be on the Move, and having the idea of having a membership where I can have, you know, dancers all around the world paying on a monthly basis for a program, and then go from there, you know. So in a nutshell, Beyond the Move it started to be a platform where freestyle can be more accessible to, the way I see it, more accessible to the masses, you know, because we don't necessarily realize it, but in the freestyle game, there is us, and then there's the other ones watching, and the connection between the very core community and the people who are watching is not that close. And once again, we don't necessarily see it this way because we are in our bubble and we know everyone, each one of us, we know each other, and, you know, it's all of that. But outside, there is another communities watching and who want also to kind of engage in a way, but they don't necessarily know how. And they often think is because, okay, in order to get in, I need to upgrade my level. And most of the time, it's not necessarily the case. It's just about, you know, communication and being, you know, open, much more open to.
I mean, if you think about like at any battle event, the majority is not the best people. Like there's 8 people who pass prelims and who are the best, and everybody else is like lower level or like in the crowd watching. So it's like there's a lot of people that can be at events without needing to be the best one there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. So it's exactly that. So I think that my goal first, it was, you know, mainly being able to say in a way that, you know, freestyle is not easy, but the process doesn't have to be difficult. It doesn't have to be complicated. You know, and yeah, so it started like this, you know, mainly as the membership. And then eventually I knew that I wanted to, you know, to have a physical event and some other branches from the platform. But that's how it started.
And so now kind of where did it get to? Like, what are all the different kind of strands of the event? Like, obviously you have the event, and then on your online platform, what are all the different kind of things that people have? Because I know you had I think it was maybe before the event, you had the videos where people would do the exchanges in the studio. So like, what else is there on the platform now?
I mean, this is still there, you know. So we've got the membership. The membership. Then we have the events once a year, BTM Experience. And before the event, like you said, we used to have BTM Exchange. So BTM Exchange is going to be also once a year. But and the idea is very simple. You know, we just got a few dancers in a dance room, you know, and then we just exchange, you know, no judges, no, you know, no winner and all of that. And we also have BTM Intensive. So that's a weekend. It's happening in May in Paris. It's just a weekend workshop, you know, where we practice, because the members in the platform, they started asking, oh, it would be good to have, a place where we can actually meet once a year,
Yeah,
at least,
yeah.
something like that. And they were talking about a camp, and I didn't want to see myself. I didn't see myself, creating a whole camp, and not, at least not for now.
Yeah.
Then I think, okay, a weekend that would be great. So yeah, that's pretty much, the whole. These are the branches, basically.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you have some, obviously there's some interviews as well online and these type of things. You have some where it's like you explaining certain aspects, right?
Oh, okay.
Like how to improve this part of your freestyle or this type of thing as well, right?
Yeah. So this part is, is the membership, basically.
Okay.
Well, basically what I wanted to do is, I created a 1 year program, on 3 modules, which are mindset, movement, and music.
Okay.
So basically, the 1 year program, when you join, every single week there is a lesson on the subject.
Okay.
And this took me about a year to create, all of it. And
so you pre-made all the content at the beginning?
No, the way I did it, I wrote everything almost like I was, writing a book for quite some time. Once I had a very good idea of exactly, what's going to be the subject and all of that, then I said to myself, I'm going to create only 8 episodes.
At a time?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I started, I launched the platform with only 8 episodes, which gave me kind of
time to
2 months content.
Yeah.
And at the time when you first joined the platform, you were receiving the content in drip. So there's a feature on the platform where if you join on a Tuesday, every Tuesday you're gonna receive your class.
Okay.
So by the time you arrive to the second month, I already created the second half of it, and things like that.
What's the platform that you use?
I use several.
Oh, okay.
I used to use. I started with Kajabi, a very good platform to to host online courses and all of that. And then I moved back. Then I moved to WordPress.
Okay.
Because I wanted to have certain functionalities and all of that. Then I realized WordPress. I started to pay a developer full time. Every month, for a year. And then I said to myself, you know what, Kajabi was good. And I was managing it by myself. And the functionalities that I think that I wanted in WordPress, over time, technology, improved. So Kajabi are offering those things as well.
Yeah.
So I moved back, to Kajabi.
So, is it like presented like it's just your website and people can go on there and sign up, or you have to go to their platform, or how does it work?
So now the way it works is it's almost like you would have, like, let's say Netflix membership.
Okay.
You just go on the website. There's a 7-day free trial to see, if you like if you think that, this program could help. And then once you go inside, after the 7-day free trial, if you decide to stay, you're going to start paying on a monthly basis or a yearly basis, you choose. And yeah, it's pretty straightforward. Yeah.
Sick. That's cool. And is there now do you get like a backlog of the other stuff that's already been created, or how does it? So like if I start now, I can get like all the stuff from the very beginning as well, or how does it work?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
I mean, the program is now I finished the program, created all the episode and all of that, so it's there. On the platform. But then once you join, obviously you're gonna start from the beginning. So by the time that you if you stay till the end of the program, you're gonna be in the platform for at least a year. And
so there's a year on there already.
Exactly.
Oh wow.
There's a year, and also the other thing is I'm much more interested about the community aspects of the platform, because since we launched, now we had over a bit more than 2,000 members who sign up since the launch. So
since 2018,
it's 2019.
Oh, 19.
So
okay.
since 2019 we had a bit more than 2,000 sign up.
That's amazing.
So therefore what's happened now is I started to think, I quickly realized that, okay, people will come and go. Obviously, as a membership, you can't keep everyone.
Yeah.
But people will come and go. But then also, they come first for the content, but they will stay for the community if the community is strong enough.
Yeah.
So I double down on that much more. So therefore, every week we have like some sort of hangout.
Cool. Like online.
Exactly, on Zoom, and we get to know each other a bit more. I get to know their dance on a deeper level. We also exchange, we talk, and all of that. So it creates a much more a better bond between us. But also the thing is, when we meet, like in face to face, so it's almost like we knew each other for long, and this aspect is much more valuable to me.
Yeah.
So
and probably to them as well.
To them as well, yeah, for sure. Because they were the one asking for that. Because at first it was only content.
Okay.
And then I quickly realized, what, it's content is good, but I don't want to be in a place where I always have to create content on a regular basis to put in the platform to justify that it's valuable. And as you already know, as a dancer, when we come to a certain after a few years of dancing, you don't necessarily need more information. It's more about revisiting things that you already know until you
and even like exchanging it with people. Like I think that's why it's really important what you said. But it's like you might already have information. Maybe it's like a step or a way you do something or anything really, but then it's like okay, this is why like traveling and going to events is so important. It's like I come in, I meet you, and there's like stuff that I already know you do it, but you do it completely different to me, and I'm like, oh, like tell me about why you do like that, and then you're like, oh, because of this, and then it's like the same thing that I already knew, it starts to develop and change. And you see, I was talking to a friend about this recently, but like even the way we do styles, it's like even now with the internet and everybody's a bit more connected, but it's still like if you go to Paris, if you go to like Germany, if you go to all these different places, they have slightly different outlook on how things should be done, or the way, like if you go to Asia, maybe the way they look at hip hop is different from if you go to London or Paris, or you know what I mean? And I think it's it's not anything new. Like we're not inventing new things in different places. It's just the perspective or the creativity is like a different mindset. So it's like you said, like you don't need new stuff always. It's like, okay, I get some stuff, you get some stuff, we spend some time working on it. Then when we come together, it's like, oh, like what did we discover differently, or what did we create differently, which I think is really cool.
And to piggyback on this idea is one thing I kind of realize outside of dance in a way of teaching is that, for example, people who are really good at communicating their idea, what they're very good at is conceptualize. Okay. So basically they will come with an idea that you already know, but they will label it in a way that you've never heard of. Yeah. And then it's almost like when you hear it, you're like, oh, yo, that's smart, the way you come up with it. And then you kind of attach this idea to that person just because of that. Yeah. Even though it's not the one who created this idea.
Yeah.
What I mean?
And it's also like, I find that like, that way of explaining things is how I find myself like teaching people who are already good at dance. Like if we teach somebody who's never learned popping or never learned hip hop, it's like, okay, we have a certain way to explain. We just show them steps and they copy and blah, blah, blah. But I think whenever I'm helping somebody that's already good and they just want to be better, it's like, it's really that. It's like, okay, like I have a friend who's a popper, and it's like, so a lot of times the way I will explain stuff to him, because he's younger than me and a little bit less experienced, but like the way I'll explain something, he'll look at someone like MT Pop or whoever, and he'll be like, I see that they're good, and I see that I'm not as good as them, but I don't know why I'm not as good as them. Like what I recognize good dance, but I don't recognize like what the steps are. So then it's like I take something from like what he's doing. Like I say, okay, watch this video of MT Pop. Now look at only this and look at it in this way. And then he's like, oh, okay. And it's like, I'm not teaching him anything. He already knew that thing was good, but it's just, if you phrase it in the right way or explain it in the right way, then it clicks. And it's way easier for the person to go, oh, okay, I know how to do that, And I think this is a lot of like the thing when you're, like sharing or exchanging ideas. It's like, yeah, like you said, just conceptualizing it in the right way,
Yeah, and also even I think we tend to undervalue the power of repetition, and I don't know why exactly, because maybe it's because, we live also in a informational age where, we've got information a lot and it's easy access. So maybe that's why. But over time we also realize, okay, there's like true power in repetition. So meaning hearing the same thing over and over again is good. Yeah. It's very good. Yeah. Even for example, going back to one of the things that I like doing now is whenever I read a book and I found it valuable, then I said, okay, there are certain books, they become part of my 1 year list, once a year, I'm going to, reread them again, because every time that I'm going to read it again, I will learn something new, from that book,
And I guess also it's like, depending on where you are in your life or what's going on, like the same message will mean different things, or you'll receive it in a different way, I guess.
Exactly. So the same thing with dance, like, at your level, when you're revisiting foundations, it's definitely not the same way than when you learn foundation at the beginning, So you have the resources to capitalize on foundation much more now than before. So I think this is why I think it's very important to just become good at repetition, I think.
100%. And it's really like recognizing that especially with dance and like the creative aspect, it's like the same thing. It's not even repetition, you know what I mean? Because it's it's like talking about I mean, I have this all the time actually, but like you do something at the beginning that you're like, okay, I think I get it, or maybe it's boring or something like that, and then you do other things, and then when you come back to it has a different place in your dance, even if we're talking like a physical thing, right? Like let's say with hip hop, at the very beginning, I found it kind of like boring to like focus so much on like foundation and the bounce and all this type of thing. I was like, this is not like, I'm young, I'm like 18, 19. This is not, my message is not like, I do things the right way. My message is like, I want to be different and unique and whatever. And then it's also like a bit more boring stuff. It's a bit more mature. And I was like, I just want to do cool concepts with my hands, And then now when I come back to it, or like when I got older and I come back to like the idea of the bounce stuff, like I already have my creativity and my style. So fitting like foundation into it for me is a little bit easier, because I'm like, I'm not starting again from the beginning and starting with this thing. I'm just fitting this core element back into my dance, and for me it kind of highlights and makes it better, the stuff that I was already creative with. But it's like I think it's like the different, and it's like I'm not learning any new foundation. It's just even in my own head, like when I train and I'm like, oh yeah, it's the same stuff that, like for example, because I never teach the way I dance. Like I always teach how it should be done, and I dance how I want to dance, if that makes sense. So if I was to teach a hip hop class, I wouldn't say like, don't do the bounce, just do whatever you want. I teach it how it's supposed to be, and then but when I break rules or whatever, and that's up to the judges to decide if it's right or not, But I think so then when I go to train, I like do the stuff that I'm teaching, which is like the proper stuff, and then I'm like, oh yeah, this is actually makes my dance cool and different and better, but it's the same stuff I already learned and I've been teaching it. You know what I mean? But it's like it's not even repetition by the time you come around. It's actually new, like, or it creates new things, or it's really interesting. And it's even the same thing, like it's like repetition but with different people who you're exchanging with. So I can do like, where it might not be, let's say it might not be foundation, but let's say like something like tutting or waves or something. It's like I can do a session training with you, I can do a session training with like a popper, a session training with a crumper, and it's all the same thing, but like it's new every time, you know what I mean? And it's like if I said, I did waving with Nikel last week, but there's another guy that wants to do waving, but no, I already did waving. It's like it's not the same thing each time. It's new. So you have to, I think it's like you really have to have that that mindset to be open to keep, like you said, repeating, but it's not repeating, because every time it's something new. You know what I mean?
I can definitely relate to this. And also there's one thing that you said that is I found very interesting, because you said that the fact that sometimes the way you're gonna be teaching is not necessarily the way you're gonna be dancing. And there's a saying. Okay, I'm gonna try and remember it perfectly. There's a saying. It goes like I think it's you teach. Yeah. So you teach for yourself, and you practice for your students.
Oh, okay.
You see, so and the first time I heard that, I felt like, oh yeah, but this is so true. Because the more I teach, the more I learn a lot about myself.
Yeah.
And the more also I kind of understand even more what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And we would think, that's what happened when you practice. But when I practice, this is when I can affirm what I know so that I can teach it.
Oh, interesting.
You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know exactly who said that, and I think I got it somewhere. It's not for me anyway, but it resonate with me till that day. That's why I wanted to kind of talk about it based on what you said, because really, like, for us, teaching, I think is a really a good way of learning, and getting better at our craft, in our dance as well. Yeah. So for sure. So
yeah, and it's also like, I think for me, why that is really true is like why it's helped me. The more I've taught, the more it's taught me about dance, because it's like I know a lot of dancers. I mean, we probably both do. I know a lot of dancers who are amazing, but they don't know why they're amazing. Like, I've had it's like so many times where, I mean, you go and take a workshop with somebody or like ask them something, and it's like, they're such an amazing dancer, but then the workshop they give, you're like, really? Like, this is it? Or like they tell you something and you're like, really? Like, it doesn't make sense. Yeah. It doesn't, like, you're so good, but they can't articulate why they're good or what they would do. They're just like, you just got to feel it more. I was like, and it's like, it doesn't really make sense. But I think when you have to teach what you do a lot, you learn to like articulate everything. It's like if you have a student every week saying, it's like, okay, Nikhil, like, at this point in the battle, like if you go to an extra round with somebody, you always have another level to pull out. How? Why? And you're like, you can't just say, just do. Like, there's a reason. There's something you do, and you say, okay, what is it? What is it? And then the more you can like articulate it, the more you can really make it almost like a science. Like, when I go to an extra round, I think of this. I pull out this. I have moves that I didn't use, and I keep them. I keep my energy. Like there's different stuff, and but you never have to say that unless you teach.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it kind of forces you to
reverse engineering yourself.
Exactly.
And
that's a great way to say it.
That by doing this on a regular basis, that's when you see the power in it for yourself as well. And
because then you can learn from yourself.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's why I think like this saying, I was like, okay, that's so true. And also it give me even more motivation to keep on teaching as well, because I see the benefit of it, not only for the student, but also for myself to grow. Yeah.
I think it's such a good, like, it's hard because I guess in hip hop, we have a lot of this thing of like, we don't so much want, I don't know, maybe it's not the same in France, but like here it's like a lot like, we don't want people to teach too early. Like, if you just started learning popping like last week, and then you open a popping class, it's kind of like, maybe you're not the best person to teach that style, but it's hard because that skill is really important in like making good dancers and making good teachers. So I think even like when I teach stuff, it's really nice to be like, to let's say, I don't know, you teach a step or a concept or something, but then you say like, okay, help each other. Like, okay, go in partners and you teach them how you're doing it and you teach them how you're doing it. Because even that, if they have to say it, they're like, oh wait, it's like, okay, it's this step, then this, oh no, wait, I don't know how to link them. Hold on, let me ask a question. And then you realize what you don't know when you try and teach it, because you're like, oh, there's holes. Like there's things I never learned. Okay, wait, hold on. Let me ask the question or find out. But it's really, it's a really good skill to do, but it's hard to, I guess also to find the opportunities, because I think as I've got older, it's way easier to like find opportunities to teach. But when you're a younger dancer, maybe you need to share stuff in order to like highlight what you don't know. But then it's hard because it's like you can't really open a class if you don't have a big name or something. Nobody's asked you for workshops, so it's kind of like you have to really like seek the opportunity to help other people, I guess.
Yeah, but back in Paris, what really helped me a lot is my teacher and mentor back then. He gave me pretty early the opportunity to teach.
Okay.
But it was kids.
Yeah.
This is really kids.
Yeah.
And he told me, okay, I know Nickel is gonna be a little bit annoying, sometimes to go teach kids.
Yeah.
But if you stick to it, you will learn a lot from it. Because teaching kids, it's not about just teaching them dance. Yeah. You need to not. You need to learn how to grab their attention from the beginning to the end. You need to be like basically more than a dance teacher.
Yeah.
And he was right, because this process taught me a lot. So I think I did that for like 2 years, teaching, kids. And then he gradually gave me, some other group of people to teach and things like that. Yeah. That's one thing that I think that's one approach that can work even, for someone who start teaching early.
That's true.
But also another thing is more like, I think just getting into the habit of creating awareness, about ourselves. Because, for example, I started doing this very late in my dance journey, but at some point after every training, I would take my notebook and write. Yeah, like just write about how I felt and what I did, and not necessarily to judge myself, but it's more about putting on paper clearly what I felt. Yeah, and how I feel after that session. And this alone has like a tremendous power of it, just to create awareness again about, what you do and things like that. And this, you don't necessarily need to go and teach to do that, but just by writing on a regular basis about your dance, about your art, I think this alone can bring a lot of awareness. And then when you start talking about it, you have more clarity.
100%.
So I think that also can help.
And I think like a similar thing that I advise people, but like for similar reasons, but it's like filming yourself train, because it's like you can feel good but the rounds are terrible. And you can feel terrible but the rounds are amazing. And it's it's not always, you can't always trust your internal feeling of like how it's going to be viewed. And I think it's also important, like in the same way that you said about writing down, it's like, okay, you watch, everybody does this, like you train, you watch your rounds back, you say, oh, I don't like this round, I like this round, I don't like this round. But you never ask yourself, oh, you have to ask yourself why. It's like, okay, I don't like that round. Why do you like, don't just say I don't like it and move on. Like specifically what's wrong with it? Oh, I look tired. No, tell me like why, what movements make you look tired? Like, okay, so it's when I'm doing my hits, like my arm doesn't raise above my chest level ever. So it looks like my arms are okay, cool. So now we have like concrete things that you can work on. Is like, even when you're tired, remember, lift your arms, lift your energy up. You know what I mean? And it's like, if you just look at a round and say, don't like it, you're not really learning how to hone in on the specific parts that need work, either for yourself or when you teach. It's like if you teach, you're going to say, oh, you that round looks rubbish, but this is not a good teacher. Like he's like, tell me why, tell me what to do to fix it, and it's like you said, it's creating the awareness, like of all the different little things. And like reverse engineering is like a perfect phrase for that. It's like you watch the round and you're like, okay, let me break this down. Let me figure out what small parts need to be fixed and do it again. And and also measuring progress. Did I improve? Like if you don't know what you didn't like or what was wrong, how can you watch around and say, oh, I'm getting better? What's better? You're like, I don't know. I'd like it more. It's not really good enough. Like you have to say, this is better, this feels better, this looks better, the space is whatever it is, and
I mean, you see, like sometimes even some people, they pretty structured in life, and they have like some sort of philosophic way of thinking about life and things like that.
Yeah.
But then for some reason, when it's come to dance, they don't necessarily apply the same principle that they already have, you know, and they either, most of the time complicated it, or maybe because it's not tangible, you know, what you feel.
Yeah.
And then you're like, I just don't like what I'm doing, or I just don't like it.
Yeah.
And like you said, there's almost never a why behind it. And I think and things that we are talking about, I think is things that are accessible to anyone, and most importantly at any level. Yeah. So you can cultivate this even from the get-go, basically. Yeah. You know, and I think the next generation of you know, dance teachers and things like that, people like this will have to, or maybe it would be good to consider more about, you know, the mindset aspect of dance as well as the technical aspect of it, you know, because at the end of the day, the technique, yes, you will, you know, learn it, but we know for a fact that in the long run is the mindset that would determine, you know,
100%
where you're going.
And I think it's also like in something like, I don't know, maybe like sports or something like that, where let's say like running, it's like you kind of just have to do what the coach tells you. It's like, run faster and you'll win. Like, here's what to eat. Here's how to train. Here's just like, do this. If you run faster, then this time you're going to be the world champion. Like in dance, it doesn't really work like that. It's like I mean, I don't want to speak for you. I know a lot of dancers who are so like hung up on doing everything the right way based on what one teacher told them or whoever told them, and it's like they never get anywhere. Because I think, from my opinion, is that like the little secret that we don't discuss in the dance scene is that it's like it's like a very small percentage about doing things right. The rest of the way is like your creativity, how you execute things. Like this can get you, for me, way further than just ticking every box and doing everything perfectly. For sure. Because we're not a sport, we're an art, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think it's like with what you're saying about the mindset thing, it's like, if I tell you, it's like, okay, how do you do hip hop? Like on paper. Okay, I can tell you, I could find out for you and list every single foundation move that's ever existed, and you could learn them all. You're still not going to beat many people.
Not
like
at all.
it doesn't mean, oh, you could be able to do them the best. You could have the most stamina. Like, it doesn't mean you're going to win. And it's like, if you have that mindset to be like, here's how I want to dance, here's my style, here's the things that I want to push in the scene, I think these things are going to carry you more. Even like, it's like, it makes me think of a friend of mine. Do you know Valmira? Valmira. From The Cage?
Yeah, I mean, from Switzerland?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I know her.
She told me this like years ago, and it always sticks in my head. But she said, like, when people give you feedback, often it's how they want to see you dance and not how you can progress at how you want to dance. It's like they say, oh, you need to use more this. Use like for who? For you, I should use more that. But you didn't ask me what I want to like express. You know what I mean? And help me to achieve that. And I think that like mindset change of like, not just do what everyone tells you. It's like, if you judge a battle or you are my teacher and I come to you, I'm not going to just say, how can I be better? I'm going to say like, I want to do more things like this. How can you help me to get there? You know what I mean? And I think this is, you know, now I can do that because it's 15 years later and I'm more old and mature, you know? But I think younger dancers, they really come to like everyone say, what's the key? What's the answer? How do I be perfect? And it's like, you have to already have a direction and then we can help you to get there. You know what I mean? Or you have to have this mindset of like, I have a way that I want to move, or something I want to express or put into the world. You know, it might be like, this was a lot of times my mentality was like, I know I'm going to lose a lot of battles, but I'm going to lose doing the things I want to do. You know what I mean? I might be able to win if I change my style and do what I know the judges are going to want, but I don't want that. I don't care about the wins. I just want to have my unique way of moving. If I lose everything, fine, but it's going to be how I want to be good, you know?
But I think also the problem is that what's usually gets you to a good level at the beginning can be the exact same thing that make you stuck for the next 10 years.
Go on.
You know, because when you first started, you want to be the good student and you learn everything, you know, and you learn to do things right. And at the beginning, this is a good approach because, you know, you're fresh and you're learning and, you know.
Yeah.
But the problem with that is it's a creative game. Dance is a creative game, especially in the long run.
Yeah.
So once you've learned the things that get you to a good level, let's say for the first 2 to 3 years, if you remain in that state of mind, then you're stuck.
This is so
therefore you can't just learn and implement. At the beginning is good, but you have to learn, you implement, you learn, you implement, and then you realize, okay, at some point I need to start customizing.
Yeah.
And this is when, like, you know, the whole, you know, valley is for you, you know, like, because now you understand, okay, now I can learn, I can implement, but I also know how to customize.
Yeah.
You know, and over time you just keep on doing this over and over again, you know. But unfortunately, there is also, I would say, maybe a lack of courage.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes to say, you know what, okay, I respect what you learn, what you taught me, and it was helpful. But now, okay, I'm just gonna do me.
Do my
You see what I mean? And doing you is often difficult. You know.
So it's like the hardest thing, but that's why that's why there's only a few people that are the best in the world, because it's really hard to like do the things that are required to be good. I think one thing I always think as well is, like, for me it seems really clear, not so much how to do it, but just the fact that this exists, but that, like, you get all these like famous dancers, like the top level of our scene, right? And then you get a lot of people underneath them who copy their style or their way to dance. Like, I mean, the best example is the twins, but like, even, you know, Boo Boo had this. There's a lot of people that started to dance like Boo Boo. Like, I could name, you know, UK, every of these like dancers that had a name. You find other dancers that kind of copy their style. And it's like, I think the thing for me is that if you do that, you can get good, but you can never get better than them or on their level, because their style already exists. You know what I mean? It's like you can have 100 dancers that look like Boo Boo, but they'll never beat Boo Boo because he's Boo Boo.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
There's no space. And I think when you see these dancers who look completely different, at first everybody's like, and this is why he said it's hard to do it. It takes courage, because it's like, at first everybody's like, what the fuck is this? This is new. This is different. It doesn't make any sense. But I think what happens is, if you have this like this line of these are the best in the world, they try to go up like this. And then if they don't, and they go this way, make something new, then they rise to join them. You know what I mean? Like, I think let's say like someone like Gonzi, who is like, for me, is like, he has a really unique style, like his personality, his like mannerisms, everything is different. And it's like, there's no one that looks like him. So he's automatically the best at what he does. You know what I mean? It's like, there's no one that can be him. It's like, Alex is the same, like everybody that has a name. Like at first it's like, oh, this is completely different. Like with Alex, it was like very calm, where we see like lots of hype energy in battles. But then it's like, you see Alex and you're like, oh, nobody's really this calm when they battle. Nobody's really like low energy like this. Or Gonzi with his personality, nobody's really like this, like funny and like making silly faces and stuff. But then it's like, that thing that makes them like, oh, I've never seen this before, is the reason they're going to be the best in the world at that. And it's like, I think, like you said, at the beginning you have to learn all the stuff, and then it's finding that. It's like, what is the one thing that you can do, or the one way that you can dance, or thing that you can bring to the table that nobody else can bring. And then it's like, you're gonna be like a killer. Like,
you know, sometimes I think about this, and I've got I said to myself, if I had a school, like I would need, obviously, time and years of experience to kind of know if it really works or not.
Yeah.
But where I'm coming from is, I'm thinking, what if, for example, you have a dance school? Usually, to teach, you're gonna start straight from the foundations, right? For each style, you're gonna start from the foundation and teach that to the students, and then they will learn this way. But I'm thinking, what if for the first 3 years in the school, the only thing we teach those dancers is understanding their natural way of moving?
Oh, that's good.
For the first 3 years.
Yeah.
And then and then later on, I don't know if the school is for 5 years or 6 years or something like that. I would say 6 years, that would be good.
Yeah.
Then the next 3 years, you start choosing the style that you want and learn the foundation of it.
Yeah.
But before that, you never touch any foundation. Reason why I'm saying this is because when we look at babies, the way they learn a language is so natural.
Yeah.
Right? Therefore, they have their voice first before understanding the grammar.
Yeah. Like
So
they want to say something and they learn the word in order to say what they already want to say.
Exactly. It's only when they get to school, then you add the structure to what they already know.
Yeah.
But because you add the structure later, they never overcomplicate, the process of talking.
Yeah.
And they already have that voice. And I think movements is pretty much the same,
This is
and I'm like,
perfect. Yeah.
And I'm like, that's why, like, with Beyond the Move, I didn't want to teach a style in particular, even though if I'm going to do a battle, you will expect me to do a hip hop battle, right? But I said to myself, okay, you know what? I don't want to teach one style in particular. I just want to get you closer to your natural way of moving. If I can manage to do that, then at some point you don't necessarily need me anymore. Maybe you're gonna stay for the community, but at some point you can just carry on by yourself. So and I think unfortunately it's not necessarily something that is taught a lot, because I think people also tend to be like, okay, you have to do things like this because it was done this way, then this is the way you should be doing. And I think we need to find, the balance between that.
100%.
Because if we do that, then we will have a better timing, to meet people, where they are.
Yeah.
And you will find more people giving you feedback based on your current situation rather than how they want you to dance,
Yeah.
So
I think it's also like, it's like, I think the reason people like teach or share the dance in a way of like, you have to do it this way and this is how it's done, is because like they want, I guess, people to do things properly, or for the culture to kind of progress in the right way. My opinion is like, before you do that, you have to make people love the culture or the dance or anything, right? Like, I think one of the reasons I'm so passionate about the dance scene and the culture is like, when I first started, I didn't give a shit about doing anything the right way. Like, I cared about my friends. Like, I met friends at the very beginning, and it was like some of my best friends now that I met when I first started. I couldn't dance at all, but I met them through this. So it was about going to hang out with them, to see them, to make their friendship stronger. And it was about cool shit. Like, we would watch some of the battles, at when I first started off, we loved popping, right? I didn't even know what hip hop was. But it's like, we would watch like Jadawi battle, and we're like, I didn't care about, his boogaloo technique was perfect. Like, no, I was like, this guy's a fucking attitude. Like, he's like, we saw Salah and we're like, oh, this guy's like the best. And Jadawi's like in his face telling him to piss off. I'm like, oh, that guy's a gangster. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it was nothing to do with the technique of the dance or the doing things right. It was like the energy or Salah just doing some crazy shit that was like pulling a tissue. Like why has he got a tissue in a popping battle? I don't know, but I love him. Like, it's like these things that, or like, you go to a party with your friends and you start doing waves and all the girls are like, oh, who's that guy? And it was like, this is what makes me want to love like dance, because of all the cool things that come with it, like the excitement, the feelings, the friendships. And then later I was like, okay, now I realize this thing that brought me so much like love, I want to like help people to do it properly and to learn, and I want to like study it. But I didn't want to study it on day one. I wanted to study it, like you said, like after a few years. And then I learned what was the things that I liked about the dance. I like concepts. I like waves. I like whatever. Okay, now I'm going to find what style suits me and I'm going to study that thing. But if I don't, I think if new people walk in the door, it's like you when you teach a beginner's class, you never, well, I wouldn't go hard on foundations for the first beginner's class. It's like, oh, here's day one of popping. Okay, we're going to do a Fresno for 7 hours. It's like, it's so boring. They're not going to come back. It's painful. It's not fun. You don't see a lot of progress quickly. No, if I'm teaching a beginner's class, the first time it's like waves, glides, like the fun shit. And then I'm like, if this is fun and you love it, come and experience more and then study. You know what I mean? And like you said, like I think finding your way of moving, like you might look from the outside and be like, I want to be a popper or I want to be a house dancer or whatever. And it's like, how many, a lot of dancers who kind of we've been around a bit longer, we went through multiple styles. I'm sure you like tried other styles besides hip hop, and it's like, even with choreo or whatever it might be, it's like you say, okay, I want to be a popper. No, I want to be a hip hop dancer. No, actually I want to be a popper. Let me try house. And then it's like, after a while you find what suits you best. But if you just decide I'm a popper, it's like, the story of the ugly duckling? No. It's like a kid's story, like, and it's like this duck that thought that it was ugly the whole time and it looks different from all the other ducks, and the other ducks make fun of it, and he said, why am I such an ugly duckling or whatever? And then it turns out that the duck is actually a swan, but he doesn't realize. So when he goes around the swans, he's like, oh, I'm a beautiful swan, I'm not a duck. And it's kind of like that with styles, it's like, you can be like, why am I a crappy hip-hop dancer? Why do I always lose? It's like, maybe you're not a hip-hop dancer, maybe you're a popper, but you don't know yet. Like, you think, I'm a bad hip-hop dancer. Actually, no, you're a good popper, but it just, you haven't tried the different things yet.
Yeah, that's the thing. But at the same time, I don't want to because there's an audience who's going to be watching and listening to what we are saying, and we are not undermined the importance of a foundation and all of that, of course, but it's more, I think it's also very important to find the balance between those two, because it's not necessarily always best to introduce the foundation at the beginning. Exactly, yeah. I think it's like, I see it like almost like our sacred books. Like, you have the library and it's like the full of the sacred books, and I'm like, I'm not letting anybody in there. Like, you have to prove to me you love the shit first, and then you can come and see our sacred books. You know what I mean? It's almost like, okay, I'm gonna test your retention rate first. That's exactly it. and then even better than that, once you stay long enough, what will happen is passion will ask for more. Yes. And then by yourself, you're going to start digging deeper and deeper and deeper. You see what I mean? But you have to spark the fire first. Exactly. For me. So I think that's something that is also, very important to mention, because for us, like, if we want to keep doing what we are doing, we want to keep it grow. Yeah. And in order to make it grow and keep it, becoming something, bigger and bigger and bigger, we also need to understand how to make it, attractive, not necessarily to sell out, but attractive to people who think that is unreachable. Yeah. Yeah. And I'm so on your, like, I agree with you so much. Because it's an industry like any others, Yeah. I mean, this is like one of the biggest issues I have with the dance scene, and this is like why I'm doing this as well. This is like, I was even looking more into your stuff yesterday, and I was like, the more of stuff I watch of yours or like listen to you, I'm like, man, I really like, I feel like you are really someone that I'm like, we have the same mission, just in different ways, but it's like, I'm really on the same wavelength as you. But like, even to the extent of like, we want to talk about dancers getting paid more, and I have a friend who's always talking about why dance hasn't got like sponsorships or something, or like this type of thing, right? And I think it's, for me, it's
it's really this, like the more we keep dance as like a closed environment that only we know and care about, and it's really hard to get into, it takes away like our audiences, because it's like battles have a really small audience because it's really hard to understand what the hell is going on if you're not from the scene. If you don't already know what all this stuff means, there's nobody explains it. Like when was the last time we went to an event, a battle event, and they explained what the knockout stages were? They just say, okay, top 16 is these people. Okay, next round is these people. No one says, first everybody's who goes in the pre-selection is going to get through to the top 16. Then they're going to battle in a knockout. Like nobody explains that because we already know. But if you're new to the event, maybe you go once, you say, I didn't really understand what the hell was going on. And then you leave. When ciphers happen, nobody's saying like, okay, now there's going to be a break. Like you might see some ciphers going on. This is like, it's just little stuff like that where we're not really making it so accessible to the outside often.
Exactly.
And even like, I mean, I always have a rants about this, but like about like the way that we set up the events, like sometimes they're too long. Like it's really boring. Like especially like say prelims. Like I talk about Battle Bad a lot because I feel like they have a really great setup where one day is the prelims day, one day is the show day. So if you're a normal audience member and you're not a dancer, you don't have to go to the first day because it's a long day. There's a lot of people just going one after another. It's not really so exciting to watch unless you're a dancer. Day 2 is like they have the stage, they have everybody's dressed nice, like it's packed. And I think that's one of the reasons why I think Battle Bad is growing like really big, because it's like they making it an enjoyable experience to come and watch, not just for as a dancer. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think there's obviously there's a lot of room for improvement in our community, and I think I'm more excited about this than being negative about it.
Yeah.
And I love observing, you know, what is going on outside of dance to kind of bring it inside.
That's a great way to
And one
look at
thing
it too.
that I used to ask myself this is when I look at the Olympics, right? I used to think, why is someone who's running these games, they seems to be much more popular than someone who's doing like backflip and, you know, some crazy stuff. And I've always been more interested about, you know, like gymnastic and people who are doing like some unbelievable things with their body. And then you've got someone else who's just, I don't want to undermine this, but it's just running
in a straight line.
Exactly, in a straight line. And it's just running faster than I could ever run. Then I understood something, and I realized that, okay, the reason why this has much more popularity is because it's much more relatable to the masses. Anyone can run. But most people, when they watch someone doing backflip and things like that, most people will say, I can't do that. I will never do that.
So you make a distance.
Exactly. And then you already create, you know, the separation. So therefore for us, if we only show them, okay, the show aspect of dancing and don't necessarily find a way to kind of meet the masses to a different state of mind and make them understand, you know, things that are relatable to life and dance, then it's going to be, you know, harder, you know, for them to get
come
introduced.
I think also my thing that I would add to that as well is that I think the reason why the running might be more like popular than something like dance is because it's easy to understand what like how somebody wins or loses. Like if you look at running, you say, okay, all I need to know is that the first person to cross that line wins. Amazing, like I'm in. Like, but if it's like, you know, I've watched dance battles with my mum or like with people that don't dance, and they're like, how come that guy won? And I'm like, well, because of the, and they're like, but the other guy's way better. He's bigger, more explosive. Like he did cooler stuff. He's looked stronger. Like let's say it's a breaking battle. He did like all these flares and he spun on his head, and the other guy didn't do anything really that exciting, but he won. And I'm like, well, yeah, because of this, this, and this, and this, and I explain everything. And okay, and then next round that guy loses to somebody that does all the big explosive stuff, and I'm like, well, okay, yeah, but in this moment that is more important because of the music, and it's just hard to really understand what's going on.
Yeah,
and I think
and I also like the aspect of it, this aspect of it as well, because it make it I think it make dance exclusive in a way as well, you know. So I really like that. But at the same time, we both know that when you are a dancer and you've been doing that for quite some time, dance is definitely your lifestyle. You know, is really part of your lifestyle. So therefore, if it's part of your lifestyle, therefore there is a lot of similarity to life in itself, you know. And just being able to kind of share this in a way that you almost like when you hear someone talking about dance, you could say, okay, yeah, but I've gone through the same thing as an accountant. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
Almost like you know, things like that. But for us, we sometimes kind of maybe because we want to keep it in a bubble and things like that. But yeah, that's great. But at the same time, we are pretty much living the same struggle and the same thing as, you know, someone else as well. You know, things like, you know, difficulties at work. Yeah, you know,
we have that.
You know, having hard time with money, you know, things like that. Yeah. You know, so it's pretty much the same thing. So I think we also need to, you know, to just be aware of this and be okay with the fact that it's dance. Yeah, it can be very exclusive and we like it this way, but also it's nothing very different to what you are living, you know? So.
Yeah. And I think also if we look at like, not in the sports context, but like, you know, if you go to a museum or something like that, a lot of the way that we connect with artists is through their story. Like we might see some paintings on the wall and we're like, okay, cool. And then you read the thing and you're like, okay, this guy was born in this time and this is what he went through and this is how he lived and this is the struggles. And then you're like, oh, cool. Like I connect with the artist a lot more. When you know their personal story,
exactly.
I guess,
you know, their personal story or the backstory and all of that. And even also to maybe I might, you know, change the subject a little bit, but when you talk about, you know, sponsor, you know, and I'm like, yes, that's cool, but why do we need sponsor? You see what I mean?
Yeah.
Here's what I'm trying to say with that. We are probably one of the only community where whenever we have a project in mind, something that we want to do, we tend to think first, okay, I need to get the money outside. So I need an organization, maybe the government or sponsorship to help me. Then I can create my project. Why is that? When you listen to, you know, entrepreneurs and people who create stuff, most of the time they come up with an idea, they manage to make it happen, and it's only after they attract money in you know, in different ways.
Right.
You see what I mean? But us, we don't necessarily have that mentality. Most of us.
So you mean like the project, like to start with, we should be trying to find a way to make it sellable.
Exactly.
Right.
So therefore, we end up often maybe being good at asking for funding, but not good at creating an offer that the market would be interested in, and then start making money with it. And then you say, hey, look, here's what I've done by myself. If you can help, now you've got much more leverage to negotiate as well.
100%. And that's kind of the way it should be, because it's like, I always said this, it's a little bit of like a different version, but it's the same message. But like when I did some events, I know you were probably here when I did some events. Oh no, you judged one of our events.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
But like even with like running events and stuff, I really hate when people try to like make you feel guilty to come to a dance event. You know, it's like, oh, I put such hard work, like please come and support my event. It's like, my job is not to support your event. Your job is to make a good event, and I'll come if it looks exciting. Like even my friends, like say with this podcast, I have like close friends well, I have close friends that don't listen to a single episode. It's fine. I have close friends that listen to every single episode. And then I have friends that will be like, oh, don't worry. Like, I'm going to check out the podcast at some point. I just haven't had time. I'm like, listen, don't check it out. Like, if it appeals to you and I make a good product that you want to check out, then check it out.
Yes.
Like, don't do it for me. Like, do it because the product is good. Because also I want to see that, like, when the numbers go up, I don't want it to be because I asked all my friends to tune in. Like, I want it to be because everybody's like, wow, this is actually interesting to me. You know what I mean? Not just, exactly. Oh, so Luke's doing some project. Like, it's like, no, you know, and it's the same with anything. Like, if I make a t-shirt business or a dance event or anything, it's like people should come because you make a good product first. Then when the product is good and you see that people are starting to come, then it's going to be a lot easier, like you said, to like ask for money and to get more money than you would have before. Because you're already showing the potential in it, and you you've made something that's good, and that's the best way to start. You know, it sounds really obvious to say that, but I guess
because you know, it's like it's just once again the mentality of it. You know, things like, for example, we're gonna hear often like, oh yeah, but you know, dancers don't have money. How do you know that? You see what I mean? Like, the same dancers that you say, you're gonna say, oh, they don't have money, they will not spend in that. They're gonna have the latest shoes, they're gonna have the latest iPhone. You see what I mean? So maybe it's not their priority to invest in your thing because you didn't position it this way. You see? So once again, it's more like I'm not judging. It's more like I'm kind of reporting what is happening and what needs to, things that we need to, you know, improve on. You know?
Well, if we want it to grow, like,
exactly,
I think it's 100% fine if you just want to run like a small event, let's say, and you don't really care to grow it or to make money, and you just want to create a small thing. That's fine. Like, this is great, and I love to go to events like that. But it's like you said, like, you can't say that it's not happening if you're not doing it in the right way. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, if you want to grow, there's ways to grow.
Yeah, because there is an audience. Now it's undeniable that there is an audience, and we should, you know, do our best to make this audience to make sure that this audience keep on growing. But also, if there is an audience, then there is also the possibility for us to inside, you know, to create things, to create offers, to create products. And I'm not saying that, okay, we need to, it's the money is not, it's not the goal here. The goal is really is autonomy. You know, from insiders, not from, okay, someone who said, okay, I've got money. Oh, you guys, if I give you this and you're gonna dance for me, you know, things like that. That's happening all the time. But if we manage to, you know, to create our own thing and make money from the community
ourselves, like our own ecosystem,
having our own ecosystem, and start to understand that and becoming smarter about it, it's game over. You know, because it will be run by insiders.
And if a company does want to come in, they have to A, do things right, and B, they have to pay good money, because it's like, why do we need you? We have our people. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's like, if, let's say, I mean, Red Bull do a great job with like BC1 and stuff, but it's like, imagine if there was well, I mean, there are a lot of other breaking events that are that big, but it's like, well, actually, no, this is a good example, because there's so many breaking events that are good battles, let's say, Red Bull have to do it right. Because if Red Bull came in and did BC1 but just did it like a really crappy version, why would we go? Because we can go to all the other worldwide breaking events. You know what I mean? And I think that kind of pushes them to do a good job, because they're like, I don't know, people won't go if blah, blah, blah. And I think it's the same with a lot of other ways. Like, we could have more events. We could have, you know, like your platform, or like the ways we teach and stuff. It's like, if we have these that in a way that we have lots of good, solid options in the scene run by our own people, then if a company comes in from the outside, they have to do a good job. You know what I mean? Like, they have to do it properly. Or if they want to like sponsor one of our events, we can kind of say, well, I don't really need you. So like, it needs to be a lot of money, or, exactly. You know what I mean? Like, we can demand more if we have solid options.
Exactly. You know, it's more like having options. You know? Having options, because for now, whenever a big company will come and, you know, offer something, we will most of the time just say yes, amen.
Whatever it is, I'll take it.
You know what I mean? Like, having that leverage would be good for us.
Yeah.
But I think we just don't understand yet how much possibilities that we actually have.
Yeah.
Especially with technology nowadays. It's something that I think, as dancers and artists, we need to watch out of, what is coming, because technology nowadays, when I say nowadays, it's not really now, but it's been happening for quite some time.
Yeah.
It's changing a lot, and it's giving more opportunities as well. But then we also need to kind of not only be aware of it, but take action.
Yeah.
It's not made for everybody, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But I think some of us, if we knew what is happening, it would be good.
Yeah, and I think there's like a lot of really smart, really talented, really intelligent people in the dance scene, and it's like the skills that they have. This let's say, like, from a perspective of like doing photography and video and stuff, I find like in the dance scene, a lot of times people start off in the dance scene, like taking pictures of dancers and taking videos and blah, blah, blah. And they get better, they get better, they get better, they get better. We see them get really good. And then most of the time they leave the dance scene because that's where the money is. They're not getting paid in the dance scene. And like a lot of these events don't have money to hire them for like the same that like a music video shoot would hire them for. So they start to like go, and then they end up working in another industry, even if they started in the dance scene. And it's great for them. I'm happy that people can like develop their skills. But wouldn't it be great, if we could keep everybody, all the talented people in the scene, and pay them so that they don't leave? And then it's like, you really have to come here for the best stuff. But I think it has to happen in a certain way, because let's say like these talented photographers and videographers that leave the scene, the events need to make money first, because they're the ones that need to hire them. And then for the events to make money, like we have to have people that are willing to pay the tickets. And it's like you know what I mean? It has to happen one at a time.
Yeah. It's very complex, that's why I'm not saying this lightly, because I think it's something that has to happen first in the way we see dance in the long run. That's and also I think it's more like our generation and the next generation coming.
Yes.
Because for me, the OGs, they have done their part.
Yeah.
Because basically because of them, we are doing what we are doing now. You see what I mean? Yeah. But like our parents, maybe, they didn't grow up with, certain things that is happening now. You see what I mean? Like technology wise and all of that. So therefore, they've done their part. But now for us, we also need to start contributing.
Yeah.
And we cannot afford just to contribute by doing exactly the same thing that they has been doing. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think this is where, it has to start. And to piggyback on what you said about the fact that we tend to start something inside the dance industry. Once we see that it's working, we go out. Yeah. And it's happened in so many ways. Like, for example, dancers who feel like, okay, now I want to make more money. Okay, maybe I can become actor, or something like
I'm good at performing. Where else can I do it?
Where else can I go? So I think we also need maybe to start thinking about, what is really the priority here?
Yeah.
Because if money was not a problem, chances are you would stay in the same community.
Yeah.
You see what I mean?
Definitely.
So therefore, let's review the priority, meaning the real priority is that I would love to stay in the community forever.
Yeah.
But financially be fine as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So therefore, maybe I need to stay a bit longer and start thinking about how can I reinvest my expertise in the community, back in the community.
Yeah.
You see what I mean?
And
I think it's very hard to do that, because you're gonna have to sign up for maybe years of broke, of being, being broke.
One thing I don't like, and I really try to like discourage when I hear, is like for some reason there's like a negativity around dancers making money, like,
or even talking about money,
like, you know. And I've said it before, and I don't feel the same as I did when I had those feelings, if you know what I mean. But like, let's say, like, you know what, the choreo dancers are really good at it, because it's like you'll have these choreographers that have a really big name from like LA or something, and they travel, and their workshops are crazy expensive. Like, you know, it can be, I don't know, like £50 or £70 for like an hour class or something crazy like this. And a lot of people will see it and be like, like, that's crazy. Like, why are they charging so much? Oh, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I used to be like that. And I used to be like, yeah, it's crazy why they charge so much. But it's like, if their class is full, good for them. Like, I want dancers to make a lot of money, you know? So if you can charge a lot of money for your class and people will come, cool. Or if you, like, I think at first when people were like monetizing other things besides just teaching dance, like I heard about somebody charging, which I'm still not sure about, but I heard somebody charging about to take pictures or something at the end of the class or something like that, which is a bit like, okay, yeah, but try, you know what I mean? Like, if it's not popular, no one will do it. Like, or even like, say with your platform, it's like, you could put all this stuff online for free or whatever, but it's like, you should be paid. You're doing work, like, you should be paid, and not just enough to pay for what you're doing, but like, you should make profit. You should be allowed to make profit, and I should celebrate, like, I hope that you are making your living off this and you don't have to go back and work in the shop in London. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, why do we want to be negative when dancers are doing stuff or making money or making stuff bigger? Like, I've heard, like, without going into too much details, like, I've heard a lot of criticism about Just Taboo, like, before, about like how big it got and like the way that they do it. And it's like, I think we can criticize anything, like, in terms of, I didn't like this. I mean, this whole podcast is me talking about stuff like that. But I wouldn't criticize like someone trying to make money and make things bigger and make things, like, I think Summer Dance is a good example, because I feel like the size that Summer Dance is, and especially now that Just Taboo isn't running anymore, Summer Dance is like the one.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But it stayed at the size that it is for a reason, because it's like, it's the vibe, and there's a certain vibe attached with Summer Dance, and it's more intimate than Just Taboo was in Bussy, at least.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's growing, and every year it's sold out, and they like, the accommodation is hard to find even in the city.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's like, I feel like over the next however many years, they're going to have to make a decision. Like, do they keep it the same size and only make like this amount of money every year because or do they make it bigger somehow? Do they make it more days? Do they make a bigger venue? Do they, and it's like,
but you know what? They actually, for me, like, the business model of Summer Dance for me is genius, you know.
Okay.
You know, because they have been growing, and they are scaling.
Are they? Okay, maybe it's stuff I don't know.
But the thing is, I mean, I don't work inside.
Yeah. From what you see,
based on what I've been able to analyze, if you compare Just Taboo and Summer Dance, I would say Just Taboo was scaling vertically, so you can easily see the growth, because it's being vertical, and you just
bigger
need to raise your
every
head.
time.
Exactly. Raise your head and see, you know, the building going up.
Yeah.
But Summer Dance has been growing horizontally. Okay. So it's taking more space. So how they managed to do this is, I feel like it's more like a festival. Yeah. So there is a lot going on, but because maybe we focus only on like maybe the battle aspect of it, then we see only the battle aspect of it. But there's the choreography thing,
the theater. Yeah, I went there for that.
There's a lot going on during maybe 2 weeks, you know, something like this, the workshop and things like that. So for example, if you buy the whole package of Summer Dance, I think it's something like €300, something like this. I might be mistaken. So when was the last time you hear an event that is not outside of dance events where you manage to create a package where you can sell, for like €100 and things like that.
Like you're yeah, in order to visit the whole thing, you're paying more than you would even at just a booth.
Yes,
which
so
is huge.
now you're paying more like for the whole experience.
Yeah,
and then you raise the price in a way that you feel like, okay, it's always the same venue and all of that, but we are adding more to the experience, but over days.
Yeah,
So I think this is one of the way they are doing it. And now with the live streaming that they are doing with £5 and things like that, this is another way as well to kind of scale it even more.
And so, I said this about your battle actually a while ago, because I think you had I'm sure it might have even been on the podcast that we spoke about it, but you had the thing, when the edition where it was like with Alex and Feist, and you charged like, I think it was like €3 or something to download the stream for the whole, was it for the whole thing or for each one?
For the whole thing.
Yeah, for the whole thing. And I was like, this is genius, because I have never had a problem paying for a live stream ever. What I have a problem with is there not being a live stream, because I'm like, I think for me, like, it's a little bit of a subject tangent, but like, I think sometimes the mentality is that if there's a live stream or like an online, like there's too good footage, we won't go to the event. And I don't think that's true. Like, if I'm going to go to an event, I'm going to go even if there's footage or live stream. Like, and if I'm not going to go, I'm not going to go even if there's no footage. You know what I mean? Like,
of course.
You taking down a live stream doesn't mean, okay, fine, I'll book a trip to Paris and you know what I mean?
Because it's definitely not the same experience.
No, exactly.
Even like you said last, you could put your content out there for free. But guess what? And I'm going to say that to everyone. If you go to my YouTube channel and you watch every single videos that I made, chances are you've learned pretty much the program that I created in the On The Move.
Yeah.
You see, and I'm not even afraid to say that.
Yeah.
Here's why. Because what I'm selling in the platform, it's not the information. It's the structure. Because when you go on YouTube, it's gonna take you hours and hours to go through all this information. There's no structure to it. And whenever you want to learn something, you need structure.
That's so smart.
So basically, when you go on in the membership, you have everything in structure, and you know where to start and you know where to finish. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's what you are actually buying for.
You know what's so crazy that you say that is, like, so many people ask me for help to like learn to do photography or learn to do videography, right? It's like beginning, I want to get into this, blah, blah, blah. Most, let's say 85% of what I do to help people is send them YouTube links, but I send them the right ones in the right order. I'm like, it's not even my YouTube videos, it's other people's, but I'm like, okay, you want to learn to be a photographer? Watch this. After you finish watching this and you understand it, watch this, then watch this and this, then choose between these three and watch those three. You know what I mean? And it's exactly that. It's like, I'm not creating any information that isn't already for free on YouTube. What I'm telling you that's valuable is that I know how to get good as a photographer. Here's the things you need to learn in order.
Exactly.
So that's so like, I've never thought of it in that way.
You're speeding up the process.
Yeah.
And who doesn't want to progress faster? You see?
Yeah.
So the same thing with an event. Someone who's watching, even I don't know, even if your screen is like a, like a cinema, you're still not there. You're watching, a live stream.
Yeah.
But the moment you are in the, the venue, it's another experience.
100%.
So
and
therefore, they're not the same.
And I've watched Summer Dance, let's say as an example, I've watched Summer Dance live stream multiple times. I've also been there. It's 100% a different experience. It's not even like a better or worse experience. Like, I enjoy watching live streams. Like, I watch Red Bull BC1 live stream every single year. And it's like, I've also been to the finals, and it's like, they're two very different experiences. I enjoy them both for different reasons. Like, we've done Red Bull BC1 where I invite like 5 friends around, we all have some beers and we watch it together. And it's really like a nice environment to do that, right?
Yeah.
But I've also traveled there, you're around, you see the people in real life. It's like, it's a whole different thing. And I think it's like, going back to my point before, like, I've never had a problem paying for the live streams, right? So it's like, I think I don't understand why people don't do it more. And it's like, I don't think there should be a pushback against people trying to monetize stuff. It's like with that event that you did, or even with Summer Dance or any of those, it's like you have a valuable thing. Like I'm like, I want to see Alex and Feist do 8 rounds. I want to see Majid and all these people. So I'm like, all you need from me is €3. Like, bro, like take 6. You know what I mean? It's like, it's really not an issue. And I think it's kind of even going further back to what we were saying about creating a good product. It's like, it's not so much about the money that you have to pay for something. Like we can talk about the most expensive dance event versus the most cheap dance event, but it's about the value. Like if the event is worth it, people will pay whatever. Like €300 could be a lot for Summer Dance if it was another event. But when you know all the stuff that's happening in Summer Dance, how good it is, who's going to be there, like the vibe, the environment, it's like, yeah, I would pay €300 for that. Yeah, but there's also other events that I wouldn't pay €300 for. And it's really that. It's like, if you create a good product, I think a lot of people won't have a problem paying.
Yeah. And plus also it's, for example, you see, for the weekend that I'm organizing in May.
Yeah.
And I'm so grateful to see how many people are coming outside of France, getting their ticket just for a weekend.
Yeah.
To come and practice, with myself. And then when I rethink about it, yes, they are coming for what I am offering, but they're not coming just for me.
No.
They're coming because they want to have a good time, and they just come for traveling to Paris and have a good time in Paris, and there's the whole thing, right? Exactly. So for example, for Summer Dance, the fact that it's summertime, someone could say, okay, hey, I love dance. Instead of going, on holiday and sit in a beach and, have a boring, holiday and just sleep and things like that. Let me, go on holiday, but at the same time have like a unique experience that I wouldn't be able to have on a normal holiday, So there's a whole different, there's a bigger picture when someone go to an event.
Yeah.
And that's what I start to understand even more, even with, the weekend of BCM experience, or even what I'm organizing. I'm like, okay, yeah, that's good. And I'm happy that, people are coming, but I also know that they are not just coming because of me. You see, they are coming because of what they are looking for, the experience that they are looking for.
And like, I was talking to my friend about this recently, but like, I think this is one thing that why traveling is so important. And it's kind of been hard, I think, sometimes to get people to understand this until they do it, because like, especially with YouTube and Instagram and stuff, you kind of feel like, oh, what's the point? Some people can feel like, what's the point of going to this event? I've seen all the battles. Or what's the point of going, like, why am I going to travel to Paris to see Battle Bad? I've seen all the battles. Like, I already know what happened. And it's like, I think it's maybe 80% of what you get out of going somewhere is not just watching the battles. You know what I mean? Like, we know this from traveling, and it's almost like obvious, I think, but all the people that I've met, like a lot of my good friends and real like close friends have been made from traveling. And it's like a lot of the experiences I had at events were not like even if I think of Battle Bad, it's like there's a few battles that were real like highlight standout moment. Like when, I don't know if you remember when Salah and Hoan battled at Battle Bad, and it was like a really big, like they had a really good exchange. It was this is one where I'm like, I will remember that battle forever. But 80% of what I remember about going to Battle Bad is like the people I was with, what I did, like the rounds that I did, who I met,
food that you ate,
exactly,
like
the conversations after the battle, like, and it's like, I think this is why I would pay to go somewhere. Like if I'm going to go somewhere just to watch the battles, I don't know anyone, I'm not going, you know what I mean? Like it's hard to pay. And it's like why I went to Summer Dance and I would go back to Summer Dance, because it's like, it's not just about watching the battles. Because also the thing is like, me now, I'm not going to pass prelims at Summer Dance, right? So as a dancer, to be like, oh, I'm going all the way there just to do a prelim that I'm not going to pass. It's kind of, you might think, oh, I'm not going to bother going, but it's like you're really going to gain more from the whole, I'm like doing an advert for Summer Dance now, but like you're going to gain more from like the whole thing. It's not just that, it's like going outside the venue and seeing people walking around having conversations, like going to a workshop and then the theater and then the battle with the same people, and like you're really getting way more for your money than just the product. You know what I mean? And I think that's why it's true what you're saying about your weekend as well. It's like, even if, you know, it could be that they know everything, like maybe they did the work, like let's say, I don't know if this is the first time doing it, but like imagine they did it already like 5 times and I know everything they're going to teach, like, but I'm still going to go back because I love the atmosphere and all everything that comes with it.
And it's always, you know, it's always different.
Yeah.
You know, it's I mean, the moment will never be the exact same, you know. So
exactly.
So yeah, I think that's want to come back to, you know, to the main subject, meaning like if we understand all these things, then we would, you know, appreciate more people that are making efforts to, you know, to make things happen.
Yeah.
They will never be perfect. Then in this case, maybe you can, you know, fill the gap, you know, and and come up with, you know, with new ideas and things like that. And then secondly, we will also learn by these experiences and what is currently happening in the game to also understand, okay, what can I bring to the table? You know, what can I bring to the table? For me, for example, is understanding. I learn like sales and marketing at school.
Okay,
you know, so that's what I studied, and then I said, hey, these are the things that I like the feeling of understand that, okay, if you present an idea in a certain way, you can persuade someone or a group of people to take action. Right? Not in a salesy way. Very, you know, it can be very organic, very natural. And I like the power of this, and also the having the ability to keep mastering that. So therefore, I said, okay, hey, how could I potentially combine that with dance? You see, which is my main passion.
Yeah.
And this is my path, you know. So basically, and also I also like, you know, the whole process of online, because the leverage that it brings is like unbelievable. You know. So now I'm committed to do that for years to come, you know. And for me, Beyond the Move, it's we've been doing that we are on our 4th year, and for me it's only the beginning, and hopefully I will be able to do that for, you know, for years to come. But then once again, but my approach and the way that I do things, I really think about, okay, how can I be profitable from the get-go? And having maybe, you know, things like funding and things like that as a bonus, not the other way around. You know?
And I think that's so like...
Exactly. So now, just by thinking this way, then very early when I launched, I was able to go full-time. Because from the get-go, I started to charge for it. You see what I mean? So things like that, yes, maybe, you know, at the beginning, because we are not in an industry where, you know, you can charge like very high ticket, you know, offer. So maybe you will take longer to grow, and maybe you know you will not have a like 7-figure business overnight. But that's not even the goal, you know. If you start in a position where you can, you know, support yourself financially, and you manage to do that for like maybe 2 to 3 years, even if you're scaling slowly, but you're still scaling. Who knows what you can do in 10 years? You see what I mean?
100%. It's like, I mean, there are examples of that. Like, I mean, even if you look at like something like Just Taboo, like at one point it was like in a basketball court, like, you know what I mean? And it's like, if you look at the huge arena that it was in the last time, it's like, I would bet that Bruce didn't, when he started it the first year, he didn't think, I'm going to put this in a 16,000 seat arena. He just thought, I'm going to do this, I'm going to make it good. And every year, you know what I mean? It's like you said, like you scale it, you make it good. And then next thing you know, you're like, holy shit, I did it.
That's the thing. But now he did that, like for me, what I respect about that is he did it when at a time where events was not a thing. You see what I mean? But you see the vision of it.
Yeah.
And I can arguably say that Just the Boo is probably one of the reasons why we can think about an event as a business model.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? But now when I see it this way, I'm also thinking, okay, that's one example. But now what can we do differently?
And it's like everything shifts. So like when the whole, like let's say Just a Boo grows and everything starts to shift that way, it leaves space over here. There's something that we don't, and then if somebody fills that gap, everything will shift over here and then it will leave space here.
Exactly.
And there's always space for something that's either missing or needs to be filled or that nobody's thinking of. Like, you know what I mean? There's a lot of aspects like that.
So many. And I think, we don't even, we are starting to realize it a bit, I would say.
I think that's like, I think for me the thing of finding a gap is like super important, and I think it applies to everyone, well, in general in life, like in anything you want to make money off, but also like in the scene where you can be a DJ, you can be a dancer. I mean, we kind of spoke about this with the battle thing about like finding your unique thing, but like it's like what I think everybody should be doing in a real kind of like business way. If you're trying to make money or live off the dance scene, it's like look where the gaps are, look what there isn't and what the scene needs, and create that. So like even if you're a DJ, it's like, okay, just as a random example, like what is everybody like, how are all the DJs playing, and like what is nobody doing? I'm gonna do that, and that means that you have to hire me because I'm the only one that does that. You know what I mean? And it's like it can be anything. Like,
and also another thing as well is it's more like we are good at taking care of ourselves, you know, but we're not very good at taking care of ourselves plus a group of others. You see what I mean? What I mean by that is often for us, and I think it was kind of we in the dance community, I feel like we are kind of conditioned this way because it's in a way it's very competitive as well. So therefore we think, okay, how can I make enough for myself? If I'm making enough for myself, I'm successful. I'm good.
True.
You see what I mean?
Yeah.
But the moment you want to start creating a product or something like that, it's not about yourself anymore. It's about, you know, the person that
it's about what does everybody else need.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? So therefore, just by thinking this way, then you start kind of removing yourself out of the picture.
Yeah.
You know, but also it kind of forces you to think bigger, you know, because it's not only about maybe making 3,000 per month and then you're good.
Yeah.
You see what I mean?
And also you don't really get to benefit from your own product. You know what I mean? It's like you can create the platform where you have this, but it's like you're the one delivering it, so you can't learn from your own platform because it's your information. You know what I mean? Like, so it's kind of like you have to, like, again, remove yourself to be like, okay, I'm going to create this thing. Everybody else is going to benefit, and I might get paid for it, but I'm not going to get the thing.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah. That's why I think to make it a bit more, maybe a bit more like practical for what we are saying, because you know some people might be thinking, yeah, but that sounds good, but how can I do this? You know, I would say that most of the time, many of us who are dancers, we are not just dancers. Often we do have other skills, and I think it would be good to probably start considering those skills more. And I'm only talking from experience because that's what I've done, meaning, okay, I love dancing. Dancing is my passion, but I've got other interests. And because I've got other interests, what interests that I've got that I know about can be valuable. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
And start thinking about how I could potentially package this in a way that it can be, productized, and create an offer about it. Something like this, So I think that could be, one approach, that could be a bit more practical to use. And if we are talking about, I don't know, photography or, videography or DJing and things like that, if you think like, okay, yeah, but these are the things that a lot of people are doing it in the dance industry already. So what's new about this? Then you need to find a different angle.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? It's like so that's what I would say. I think for us is more about leveraging more the experiences, the skills, the other competence that we have, and see how we can bring more value, from
100.
it. And then once we do that and start getting some result from it, from experience, once again, more ideas come. Ideas come in.
Once you have the mindset.
Exactly,
like that. Yeah.
exactly. So I think it's that's what I would say, just to make it less just an idea, but also some practicality behind it.
But even this is like, it's so crazy because like what you're saying is so you can apply that to how to be a good dancer. Like not even just the to make money from the other stuff, but it's like you can't, like, I think what's difficult in the dance scene is when we get all our like inspiration and ideas and thoughts from other dancers doing the same thing that we're doing, because it's like, in the plane when the air is recycled, like it's like that with ideas. Like it's like you think of something and then I think of it and then you take inspiration from me and then I take it back from you, and it's just the same idea going like this, like this, like this. If we go off, we live our life, we do other things, we do other art forms, we are inspired by things outside of the scene. When we come back, everything's going to be really like different and unique and valuable, I guess. I feel like it's you that told me that about Yudat, that like you guys like go and train elsewhere and then come back or something to like have more unique. Did you tell me that?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I see what you mean. I think probably I told you something around the line that, especially now with Yudat, we don't necessarily, come up and create a show together and things like this anymore. It's more like, okay, what is Nickel is doing, what Jimmy is doing, everything that we do, we still always make it under the name of Nickel Yudat, Jimmy Yudat, Sam Yudat, and things like that. So therefore, the name Yudat keep on, growing and still have an impact, because we are still representing it in other things that we are doing. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So when you see Beyond the Move here, you see, oh, that's another guy from Yudat who's doing something. You see what I mean? So that was kind of our mentality behind it.
Yeah, I just think it's like, the same that you're saying about like, okay, if you have other interests outside and you bring it kind of into the dance scene and do it here and create something of offering, it's like that with dance. Like if you're let's say you're, I don't know, an actor maybe, and you are really good with character and it's like you don't have to only do that there. Like you can bring that into the dance scene and use that in your dance, and that's going to make you super unique. Or like if you're really into like fashion or something, maybe that's going to be your like unique thing. And I think it's the same, like it's the same for everything really. It's like if you bring your outside experience into the thing, it's going to make the thing more fresh and you're going to enrich it, I guess, and it's like it's I don't know, tell me if you disagree with this, but like I feel like you almost get more value from taking something and putting it somewhere new in every aspect. So like let's say for example, being a dancer in the dance scene, people are like, okay, cool, and it's really hard to like, let's say like to become like a judge for like Just a Boo or these big events. It's like it's really tough to get there. Because you're like, there's a million dancers who want to do that, and we're all dancers and we all do the same styles. But then if you take your dance to like a perfume company and you say, I'll perform for you or whatever, they say, oh, I'll pay you a lot of money to do that. You cannot be the best dancer, but you can get work. I mean, this is the whole idea of like the commercial dance industry, but you're taking dance and putting it somewhere else, or you're taking dance and putting it in a movie, and now it's like, whoa, that's so different, and none of us, we're all actors, we can't dance, so bring that over to here. And it's the same in reverse. It's like if you're a filmmaker and you're trying to compete with like filmmakers and you're trying to get your stuff at like Cannes Film Festival and stuff, it's really tough. But if you make dance films in the dance scene, there's less videographers or filmmakers, so automatically we're going to appreciate it more because it's not saturated, I guess. Does it make sense?
Yeah, that's the thing. Because once again, you see, like we literally have all the resources.
Yeah,
you see what I mean? Like inside, we literally, let's say for example, all the like filmmakers in the not all, because it wouldn't work. Too many brains at the same time, it never works. So true. Let's say for example, one filmmaker, and it's something that probably one day I would like to do, I think, is, let's say for myself, I said, okay, I love filmmaking and all of that, but I've never seen Hollywood creating a dance film that I would love to.
Yeah.
Right? What will happen is I will go to, okay, look, I've got this idea, and you also like, filmmaking, and you also have, skills into that. And then you gonna connect me with someone else. And before we know it, you can literally create a group of people to create a film in dance.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. We can create something really good. But the problem is we may not know how to market it properly to make it stand out in a way that is going to appeal to not only dancers. You see what I mean? So maybe this is where it's going to be maybe this is where we're going to lack a little bit.
Yeah.
But other than that, creatively, we can create something to a really high standard.
Yeah.
And often we can do that with much less money, because in the dance game, that's what we've always been doing.
Yeah.
Like trying to do our best, but with very little. You see what I mean? So I think we already have, everything inside, and we can improve, the resources that we have. But it's more like about thinking about the resources that we have differently.
Yeah.
I think.
And like how to utilize them in the best way. And
in the best way possible.
Yeah,
so,
it's really true.
So yeah, I think I don't want to kind of repeat myself over and over again. But it's once again, it's just mainly putting this type of message out there is more like to just start thinking differently. Then we don't necessarily have the answer to to all the possibilities that can happen, but maybe this type of conversation can also spark some ideas, and coming up with new, like completely new things.
Yeah, 100%, man. And I think it's like it is starting. Like I do see more people doing like entrepreneurial things and different versions of or different things within the dance scene and stuff. So yeah, I think it's definitely starting. I just think it's like needs to be encouraged and pushed as well. But
yes.
I was going to ask you about the event, because I have to be honest, I hadn't watched this year's videos yet, and I watched them yesterday. Not everything, but a lot of them. And after I watched them, I was super pissed that I didn't come this year. I was like, if I had watched it, when was the actual event?
It was in January.
In January.
Yeah.
I was like, I think if I had watched last year's videos maybe in time, like I probably would have like actually paid to come and watch this, to this
cool,
one.
man.
Is it 2 days or 1 day?
It's 2 days, yeah. It's
choreo on one day and...
Yeah, the first day is the battle.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, the battles. And the second day is the choreo, but then and the big and the final of the battle, because the final is 8 rounds each.
Yeah.
So yeah,
it's on a separate day.
So yeah, that's why it's on a separate day, so that they have the time to rest.
So for people that don't know, can you talk us through like how it all works? So on the first day, you do like a open pre-selection.
Yeah. Okay. So the team experience, the event is only our second year.
Okay.
Right? So the first year, because it was no pre-selection. Yeah.
The first year.
The first year. It was only guest dancers. And then, but I also knew that, starting the second year, I wanted to have pre-selection, but I just wanted to kind of put a standard. And yeah, so now we have pre-selection. And then after that, battles. We take, 8 dancers. And then after that, the battles for each battle, so quarterfinal to semi-final. And both of them is 5 rounds each. Right?
So the top 8 do 5 rounds each.
Yeah.
And then the top 4 do 5 rounds each.
Exactly.
Cool.
Yeah.
And that's so both on the first day.
Yeah, on the first day. So yeah, and then after that, the finals is on the next day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's 8 rounds each.
For the
finals.
Final.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay, so I have so many questions. So what, first of all, was because I love the concept of, or I love it so much, of like this many rounds. And it's like, I've probably spoken about it for people that listen every week. Like I've probably spoken about this so many times, but like, I think it's a huge thing that the dance scene is missing. And I think like, I hope you retain the uniqueness of your event, but I hope a lot more events do this as well. Like, I think it's something that we need to adopt more, because for me, like, the beauty of dance is our creativity and our, just how far we can push our creativity. And I think this is for the dancers, just doing one round, especially top stylers, maybe not so much breakers because it's a different game a little bit, but I think for top stylers, doing one round and get knocked out, especially like 1 30-second round, it's a bit of like, like you're teaching a different skill. The different skill is how much can you pack into 30 seconds, which I don't really love, like the way it changes the dance a little bit, because you're not giving the dancers time to breathe and to draw out what they can do. It's a skill, and it's a hard skill to be able to pack your best stuff into 30 seconds like that and go, stop, and you've done everything. But I love what your event does for the dancers and for the dance itself, which is to like, and it's because is it no time limits?
Yeah, I mean, now we
finals.
put time limit, because some dancers
But what was in the finals? They were going on for long.
Yeah, you still have much more time.
Okay, yeah, usual. Right. It's not like a 1 minute.
It's like, no, it's not. It's about 3 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so you
per round.
Yeah, per round.
Per 8 rounds. It's a lot.
Yeah, you have plenty of time.
But I think what I love is that I watched the finals, the whole thing, and it was like I loved it so much, man. I really loved watching it, and it's like, I have so many thoughts about it all, but like, I loved what it does for the dancers, where it's like, okay, you have 3 minutes, you have 8 rounds, you can really build up your rounds. You can like start with an intro, you can build, the structure is so beautiful to watch. You can go in on like an element, like a character or a specialism that you have, because it's not just the only time you're going to get to dance. You're doing 8 rounds and you're dancing for 3 minutes. So if one of those rounds is only floor work, fine. If one of those rounds is only like this style of dance or whatever, it's fine. And I think it really like brings creativity out of the dancers in such a more beautiful way than doing short rounds does for me. And I think as a spectator, what I loved was that watching, like, say summer dance, which is, I love watching summer dance every year, right? But when they choose the top 12, like there was, I think it was last year or the year before, I was like, every single person in the top 12 is my favorite dancer. Like it's such a high level top 12. And then they do one round and they're out. And I'm like some of these dancers are like, I want to see them dance for hours. And I'm like, I get to see one round and they're gone, which is kind of the game. And I understand it. And it's fine. But as a spectator, I really want to like, be invested in the dancers. And I think with this finals, like, I don't know Max Love. I don't know his dance really. I haven't seen much. And who is he against? One of the twins.
Yeah, Laurent.
All right. So it's really interesting, because when I clicked the finals, like I was watching it because you were coming here, right? But when I clicked it, it's a battle that I know that if it was a normal battle, and let's say it was the quarterfinals or a semis, I might have skipped it, or I might have like not been so interested to watch, because I don't know them really well. I don't really know their dance. It's not somebody that I know like that I know I'm going to enjoy. So I'm maybe I'm not going to bother. So I put it on, and it's like you said, 8 rounds, 3 minutes. It's like a 40-minute video, right? So it's a full thing.
Yeah.
I watched the whole thing beginning to end, and by the end of it, I was like gassed. Like I was like so into it, and like you do, which I think is really clever. You do 4 rounds where one person starts every time. Then it's half time.
Exactly.
You switch, and then the other person starts. And I think what was so cool is that, even if I didn't know their dance, or I didn't really have a connection to them before, maybe by round 3, 4, I start to develop a connection, and I'm invested in the journey. Like I see them get tired. I see what they've already done. I see like the style or their tendencies or the things that they like to do. And then by the end, I'm so into it. It's like a football game. I'm like, even if there's no winners or whatever, like I would love to see it with like a, if it went
It's so interesting that you're saying this, is because on the day, like if you are there, it's even more immersive, because after 5 rounds, because I was thinking, but they're gonna see those dancers dancing for so many rounds. What could I add more to this experience? And this year we tried something that it works really well. Is after each battle, we bring 2 chairs, they sit down, and the public ask questions.
Oh, this is good.
And man, like the audience really enjoyed this. At least from the feedback that I got, it's something that they would like to see even more. Is just being able to communicate with the dancers. And what often comes back is they said, like, not only because they've been seeing them for longer than usual, like the relationship is different, but the fact that now they have the possibility to literally interact with them based on what just happened. The next battle, they don't watch them the same ways.
That's like, really good.
They feel like, okay, I know who's dancing now. Even more. You think? You see what I mean? So I think there is definitely a power of being able to see even dancers that you already know in that format. Because
100%.
For a fact that at some point they're gonna have to bring something different. Because you're tired after like maybe 3 to 4 rounds. And you just let your instant talk more. But I also want to give credit where it's due, because the first battle in Paris that my teacher brought me to watch. He said, "Hey, Nikhil, we're gonna go to Central Paris. I'm gonna, introduce you to the battle scene. You're gonna watch a battle." And it was like a very small venue, almost like a dance studio. And there was a battle against. So basically, it was Yuxon against Joseph Go. Look, when I saw this battle, like my first battle, I saw Yuxon against Joseph Go. And they went at it for 8 rounds. And in my mind, I thought that was battle. Because that was my first battle. That's what I saw. And then after that, I think it took me about a year to go back to battles and see really, what is happening. And I realized it's like 1 minute pre-selection and all of that. Then I realized, okay, what I saw the first time was unique, but it's not the norm.
But you had it in your head like that.
Exactly. It's not normal. And then after that, I've never seen this back. You see what I mean? So basically, the OGs, they used to basically say, okay, I want to, dance against you. They would go and come, and there was not like a winner or some.
It was
I think there was a winner for that, but it was more like, okay, hey, you against me for rounds and rounds and rounds, Then, I grew up and then once again, we think about, filling the gap. And I'm like, I would love to see this back.
Yeah, man.
And that's what I did.
And
you see, so
I love
obviously
that.
Over time, I kind of add my own twist to it, But the idea, I saw it, in my first battle, basically.
And I think that's kind of what's beautiful about it, because it's not like new in the sense that we've exchanged with people for many rounds like all the time. Like that's what I love about training sessions. Like when I go to a cipher session, or even like, you know, at a battle when you're ciphering, I really don't like to like cipher hop. You know, where you go do one round. I like to stay in one place, because it's like, let's say me, you, somebody else, we're doing rounds. If we have a few hours here, it's like, okay, let's go. Let's just keep going and build. And I see you, you know, it's what I love about ciphering with people is like the building and the exchange, like back and forth between the people over a long period of time, right? Like, and you don't get that from battles. Like even, you know, playing basketball or something, right? Or football or anything like this. It's like the fun of a basketball game is like you guarding the same guy for the whole game, and you're like back and forth, like you're trying to score on him, he's trying to score on you, and you're like pushing each other to the end. And then by the end, it's kind of like, it's like funny to say, but like you kind of have like a bond with that person that you competed against, because you both pushed yourself, and you both like were warriors in the same fight. But then at the end, you're like, okay, let's go for a beer or whatever, you know? And I think we miss that a little bit with battles. Like there's people that I've battled that I guarantee they don't even remember battling me. And it's like, I know that happens, but it shouldn't as much. Like we should have some type of connection. Like, like I'm sure these people at your event, like they're going to remember that battle, like, and that person, they're going to have a closer bond. Cause it's like, no, we went 8 rounds, we sweated, we almost died, like trying to beat each other. And it's like, this is a really, like, I think this is something that we have in other elements of the culture. We have it in ciphers. We have it in maybe even call outs that like in the club or whatever will go like long rounds. But in the competitions, like nobody really recreated it before, which I think is great.
Even for example, you see the choreography part of it. The idea came up once again based on something that already exists.
Okay.
So for example, you see,
because do you want to explain the concept for people that don't know?
Basically, like you can see the concept is like the choreographer create a piece with 2 dancers. Then he performed the piece with 2 dancers, and then right after he's going to be doing the same piece by himself.
Okay.
And the idea came like so naturally to me, because I saw like there was a time like the LA choreographers, like they were massive online. And one thing that I keep on seeing over and over again is when they teach a choreography, they pick some dancers, they sometimes do it with them, then sometimes also don't do it with them, but they perform, you know, the piece. And then you always see them waiting for the moment the choreographer going to be doing this piece by himself. And I said, hey, I'm just going to turn that into a show, actually. You see what I mean? So once again, I did not necessarily invented something. I just took something that existed, that we do all the time, like, you know, exchanging. And then I said, okay, maybe we can kind of transform that into a show, you know, into an event, you know. So yeah, that's how it's, you know, it started as well. So yeah, I think just like you know, the having a lot of exchanges, this start by, you know, just going to places to different dance studio and exchange with others for hours and hours. Because we know that every freestyle dancers love this. They are just, you know, going, training in another place, and there is no time limit. We just exchange, you know, for hours, you know. And
we all do it.
You know, we all do it, you know. So having this place to do it is good. But then at the same time, because I see people start saying also like, oh yeah, but you know, that's how, you know, event should be and things like that. But I don't really want people to think that too much, because if this was normal, then I'm pretty sure people will start saying, yeah, but it's too long. Yeah, like those battles that are too long. You see what I mean?
You need a mix of everything.
A mix of everything. So
100%.
So it's great that we have, you know, battles that are quick. You know, battles that are, you know, in different formats. And then we can, you know, learn to appreciate, you know, different format as well.
Yeah,
you know?
I think that's like really it for me. Like, I think we need more different things. Like even with like Fusion Concept, I feel like they've gone through so many different like experiments of like ways to run that event. I don't know if maybe maybe I don't know everything, but like from what I've watched, I'm like, I feel like there's been quite a few different versions. Didn't they have one year with cards or something, and you could
yeah, no, that was another concept.
Oh, there was another one.
Yeah,
okay,
because Canon need love trying concept.
Yeah, but this so maybe it's all like Canon, so maybe it's not fusion concept, but it's ghetto styles battles, right?
Yeah, it was like I think code 1, 2, 3. Something like this, you know.
But like, I love that because I think it's like we need to try different versions of this thing that we do, and like for different reasons. Like it might be like, okay, your battle is more about, and I think also the whole event with like the choreo and everything. It feels to me like your one is really about like pushing people's creativity, and like it's not so much a competitive like I'm gonna kill you like, but it's like a really let's bring out as much creativity in the dances as we can. But you also need those events when it's like hardcore, like let's battle each other. And this is, you know, what a lot of people love Paris for. It's like you guys have a lot of this type of event, which is like, you know, I know people from London that will go to Paris like to experience that, because we don't have it as much here. This like hardcore energy, and I love that as well. And I love the big events with loads of dancers and it's quick rounds, and I think the concept stuff is cool because it's like, okay, cool, let's not compete in a way like we're angry, but let's like make a game out of it. Like, I'm gonna have a strategy and I pull this card, or and like 2-on-2s, 3-on-3s, KOD with the 4. It's like all of these things bring a different element to the event space, and I think it's like the more different versions we have, I think the better.
It's I think like you said, that's the way it should be, you know. It's better. So I wouldn't say like, oh, you know, this version is even that's the version I enjoy. I prefer, because like I joke about it sometimes. I say, okay, I can't wait to do BTM experience myself, you know, like to participate, you know, because this is the type of things that I love doing, you know. So I guess you create, you know, the things that you would like to participate in, you know?
And you hope that other
based
people
on your personality as well.
Exactly.
So it's good to have, you know, very different formats, and it should remain this way, you know.
Yeah, man. I really think is that I really is it in Paris? I really want to come next year. I was watching it and I was like, I have to make an effort to go to this next year.
Oh man, if you can, Wait, actually, if you really think that you're gonna come, let me know about it, and then I'm sure we can find a ways to kind of have a capsule.
Oh, that would be so good, man. Yeah. 100% like
so
carve it out to come, because like it just looks like such a sick, like even if I didn't enter, I would still want to come and you know, watch and stuff. I think it would be sick. But even, you know, I think we have similar like taste in dance, because it's all the stuff that I love, and it's all the stuff that I would want to do. Like I would come and do the choreo thing, I would do the battles, like I would enjoy every element of this, even as a spectator. Like the interviews thing, I mean, this is what I do. Like it's like the whole thing is the type of thing that I love. But yeah, I definitely want to try and make an effort to come. Is there anything else I wanted to talk about on that? I mean, shout out to Joker for his judge demo. This guy, like, I've spoken about him so much, but he's so fucking dope, man. Like,
he is, bro.
He's like
for real.
One of my favorite like artists in general. Like, but yeah.
No, but for real, and he's also you know, like a good person. Yeah, you know. Yeah, that's. I think it's part of his talent as well, you know. So I don't know if you had the chance to. I mean, probably you will, you know, do some like an interview with him whenever it's possible.
As soon as I can get to Paris, I'm gonna.
And you will see. Very good guy, man. Yeah,
I don't know him super personally, but like we speak a little bit, and like he's always been super nice to me. You know, and you can tell like he's got a good vibe from him. So
no, very.
He seems like it would. You know, sometimes it's a shame when you really love someone's dance and then you meet them and they're not so nice.
So
I was like, it's good that he's
this happens a lot as well. Yeah. Well, no, I think with him you will be fine.
But yeah, I mean, like I've always had a good vibe from the Yudat. I think, who do I know? I just know you, Jimmy, and Joker, I guess. Who else is in Yudat that I would know? Sam, I don't know him.
Yeah.
Anyone else?
Yeah, Jihaders, then it's more like you know, the new generation.
The younger guys, right? They came for Just a Boo.
Like Junior. And, some others.
But they were dope when they came here as well. Yeah, I've always had a good vibe from you guys' crew. Like you seem like you said, like nice people as well. And like
I mean, I think we're decent, you know.
We're pretty good guys.
Yeah, you know, like it's more like I think it's, you know, for some reason I also believe that we all started dance late, like around 16, 17.
Okay.
And before that we were, you know, playing football and, you know, going to school and all of that. And I think maybe this has I think this plays its part as well, because it seems like because we had those things before dance, we always find them very important, almost as well as dance. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So like Jimmy or Sam or myself, we've got a pretty good balance between, you know, our professional life and normal life.
Right.
Like we all have like families, kids, and, you know, like normal,
like you have a perspective kind of.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Normal lifetime things, you know. And I'm not saying like other dancers that doesn't have this, not at all. Yeah, I'm just saying that maybe because we started late, then it remained really something that it has already been part of, you know, us being like being social and things like that, you know. So yeah, maybe
yeah, I think it's something to that. Like it's important to like, yeah, I guess like if you have other things, maybe you like learn things about yourself already before you enter the dance scene, so you know yourself a bit more. I guess
yeah
it might maybe
it's
affect
a bit like when you make money late, you appreciate it more. You see
True.
what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, it's and you kind of know how to make the most of it because you get it late. You see, and
you know what it's like to not have it.
Yeah, exactly. You know, and it's along the line the same, you know, thing that I'm trying to say. You know,
yeah, I hear you. Yeah. Well, yeah, shout out to Yudat. And yeah. So I think everyone listening, if you haven't seen the videos of the BTM experience, definitely check those out. But also the whole platform in general is like, I was looking through the YouTube and even the like free stuff on there, it looks like so dope, like so many different things to check out. Yeah, like if anyone's a fan of the capsule, you'll definitely love like the Beyond the Moves platform. Like it's really like similar sort of territory, I guess, of like what we're trying to do, I think. Which is why it's dope. And I think I really like look at you as like an inspiration for that. And like even I remember at the very beginning, like some of the conversations we had when you first moved, it was you already thinking like, okay, I need to figure out like how I'm going to be. And at that time, I wasn't even thinking like that. I was just like, oh, you don't want to just come and cipher for hours and do nothing? Like,
that's why you saw me disappear for so long as well, you know, like.
But I thought it was great because it really like made my mind start, like, you know, this was, well, you said 2012?
Yeah,
it was fucking early, man. I was what, like 22, 23, something like that. But like, yeah, I remember like us just being like, yeah, let's go and just do this. And you're like, yeah, I'm just going to think about like, how can I position myself in the dance scene or what I can do with my career. And I was like, oh, I never thought about like my career, but you know what I mean? Like I'm just working in a job, like coming to dance. So it started to make me think like, oh, interesting. And like, cause it was Isaac from MIK that put us in contact.
Oh yeah.
Like he said, oh, my friend is moving to London. And I think Isaac is another example of that. Like he was always thinking like a little bit further, a little bit better than I was at the time. And it's like being around both of you, I was like, oh yeah, this is like, I need to start thinking a bit more. So you guys definitely like contributed to like
and also that. On that, you know, when I moved to London, I said to myself, please God, don't let me do exactly the same thing that I was doing in Paris.
Just in a different country.
Just in a different country, you know? I'm like, if you're moving and then you do the same thing over and over again, because it's so easy to fall into this trap of, you know, just, you know, doing battles and judging competition, doing workshops and, you know, and I was like, okay, I really have to, you know, find, you know, a different way of doing things. I knew what I didn't want, but it took me a lot of time to know exactly what I want. And during that time, I had to kind of be focused. You know, that's why also, you know, even some people here ask me, why you live here, but we almost, never see you.
Yeah.
And and honestly, it's just life brought me toward that path. Meaning, like, because I had to be so focused on the things that I wanted to kind of put together, and it took me a lot of time to really understand what I wanted to do and how to do it.
Yeah.
And then, and this is why I had to kind of remain focused.
Yeah, it's such a good like lesson because it's working for you. So it's like, if you think, this is what's crazy, it's like for me to see you now, like I remember you in 2012, you know what I mean? And it's like to see like, okay, some of the stuff, even like we mentioned Choreo Masters before, but for those that don't know, it's like, what year was Choreo? That was like 2012, 13?
Yeah, I mean, like maybe 6 months after I arrived.
True, you put it. So for people that don't know, this, if you see the Beyond the Moves choreo section, you did this concept at Madame Jojo's in like 2012. And it's like the idea of like 3 dancers and blah, blah. And it's like, it's taken from, this is 11 years later we are now. That it's like and you're only on your 2nd year of the actual event, So it's like, the process takes time and it takes fucking concentration and effort and like focus on yourself. And it's like, I think you're such a good like a role model for that with people, where you could have been pressured to be like, oh, I need to be in the London scene and to win all the battles and for them to know my name and blah, blah, blah. But even from the very beginning, you were like, no, I'm not going to be around all the time, but I'm going to put together some ideas. I'm going to test out this. I'm going to test out this. And it took a decade, but it's like, it takes time to like, build up something with longevity and sustainability.
Yeah.
But it's like, if you don't get caught up in all the little like, oh yeah, I have to be popular, or I have to go and do this thing every day. It's like, it's okay to take time. And I think people are scared of also like being forgotten. Like, oh, if I don't enter 3 battles, nobody's going to know who I am. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's so interesting because even my wife, who was my girlfriend at the time, she used to say, Nika, you are training, you are practicing almost every week. Why don't you go do some battles and things like that? And then it's only later I realized I'm practicing because I love dancing. It's just something that basically freestyling and putting the music and being by myself for like 1 hour, 2 hours is just something that I need. So I was doing this almost like I've got a battle to do every weekend, but I was just not going to those events. Yeah. But then I would, just focus on work. But at the same time, honestly, like for some people, it comes more easily maybe. But me, I had to try so many different things before actually figuring it out. For example, like I said, trying like things like affiliate marketing and e-commerce, and I was even selling things on Amazon, and I've tried many stuff. Okay. And honestly, there are certain things that I started doing and started making money with them. The amount of money that I was able to make, for example, especially in affiliate marketing, because I was selling like a high ticket offers. Okay. I could be thinking like, if I keep on doing this for a longer period of time, I would be able to make way more money than I am making now. But for some reason, I felt like it's not the right thing, because once again, I'm learning the skill from that. But at some point, once I was ready, it's some sort of like the universe said, okay, now I've got the right idea for you because you've got the skills now. Here's the right idea. Now go do this. And then all of a sudden I'm like, okay, no, I'm not going to be doing these things. Now I've got the right idea for dance by utilizing the skills that I've got. Let's go for it. You see?
And it's so like,
it takes time.
We often think like, if something doesn't work, it's like a waste of time. Like, oh, I did this for a year. Like, for example, I did music technology in college for 1 year, and I didn't finish the course, and I switched to dance and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, you could say that I like wasted my time doing that, but I learned for a year about how to study music. And it's like, it really became like part of how I understand dance and how I teach dance and how I choreograph. And it's like, I didn't know that it was going to be until years later that it was going to help me that much. But it's like you said, if you hadn't done affiliate marketing and all of this stuff, you wouldn't be able to do the platform that you're doing now.
Exactly.
So it's like, it's almost worth trying all the different stuff to gather the skills, and eventually you'll find the right way,
because just learning about, because like I said, at school I learned marketing and sales, but there's a huge difference between learning and practicing, you know. So that's the thing.
All right, well, massive shout out to you. Definitely everyone listening, check out your Instagram for sure, but also the Beyond the Moves platform, which is on Instagram, YouTube. You have a website. Anywhere else?
No, that's plenty.
I'll try and leave the the links in the YouTube description, so if you guys want to check that out, do. And thank you so much for coming. Happy to see you again.
My pleasure, man. We finally
Always nice
made
to
it.
see you. Yeah. We've been talking about it for a while. And I'll almost, unless something big happens, I'm almost definitely going to come in January for your next one, because I really want to make an effort for this one.
Cool,
it's not a lot of events that I'm like 100% I have to go, but this one I was like, okay, this one I think I have to go.
Next one, man. Let me know about it when you get closer.
For sure. Yeah, definitely. All right, thanks everyone for listening. And tune in next week. And if you're new here, welcome. And subscribe, join us on our capsule journey. And if you're a regular listener, thanks for tuning in, and catch you soon. Peace.